Hey everybody, it's Tracy Brown, and I am here with another Black History moment from the New Thought Media Network. And today I am going to share with you a little bit about two amazing women. Two amazing women, Bessie and Sadie Delany. Bessie and Sadie Delany. Do you know who they are? Have you ever heard of the Delany sisters? Well, in this image, Bessie is on the left and Sadie is on the right. And Sadie was the older of the two. They are sisters. And Sadie was born in 1889 and Bessie was born in 1891, just a couple years later. Their parents had 10 children in all, and their dad was the Reverend Henry Delany, who was born into slavery, but he became the first Black Episcopal Church bishop in the United States. So there's a whole history just about him. And we could probably do a Black History moment on Bishop Delany. But today I'm going to focus on his two eldest daughters, Sadie and Bessie. So Sadie Delany was the first Black person permitted to teach science in the New York City public schools or high schools. And there's a great story about that because they didn't know she was Black until they had hired her and she showed up for work. And Bessie was the first, let's see if I've got that right. Bessie was a dentist, and she was the second person the second person. She was the only Black person in her class, but she was the second Black female dentist licensed to practice in New York. So at very young ages, right, they did some amazing things, but that's not all you should know about the sisters Delany. All of this, their entire history of living through the Harlem Renaissance, living through the civil rights period in the United States, all of the things that they actually lived through was captured in a book that was Having Our Say, the Delany Sisters. Having Our Say, the Delany Sisters' first 100 years. So they were 101 and 103 when this book came out. And a New York journalist, Amy Hill Harth, found out about them and then befriended them, or they befriended her, and she captured so many of their stories and then put them into book form. Now think about it. They had lived through 100 years of history, 100 years more plus of history, born in North Carolina and having lived in the South and then moving to New York as young women and finding their way through college and graduate school and then working in New York. So the book, Having Our Say, will tell you so much about their history and how they navigated both racism and sexism during the course of their lives. And Wow, just think about it. Think of the history you have seen and lived through in your life, however old you are right now. And then think about living to be over 100. and talking about how you navigated all of that. So the book was quite successful. And as a result of that book, a stage play was made. So the book was a New York Times bestseller, which probably doesn't surprise you. So the book was a New York Times bestseller, and they tell their story. The subtitle, right? Two extraordinary women tell their stories of a century of American history and the family love and living forever. And people loved them. Now they're really real characters, right? They're very different from each other, but as sisters, they never married, and they lived together um, for the duration of their lives. Bessie died when she was 104, and Sadie lived to be 109 years old. I can't even imagine. So I encourage you to look for the book, Having Our Say, or watch in your general area for the stage play that was made from the book. And the stage play is also titled Having Our Say. And if you don't want to wait to see it in a live theater performance, in 1999, CBS made a film featuring Diane Carroll and Ruby Dee playing the two sisters. And it is available. You don't have to wait. You could see it. Just go search for it and you could watch the film. So that is Sadie and Bessie Delany, two amazing Black women who broke barriers, who from a very young age, they were exposed to national level leaders because of their dad being the bishop. And in their time in New York, they were there during the heyday of Harlem Renaissance, all through the civil rights movement. And they were very well known, their whole family was. And so they got to meet so many people whose names you would recognize, the poets and the artists. And then in the 60s, the activists and the politicians. They lived it, and Having Our Say tells us all about it. So, Sadie and Bessie Delany, the Delany sisters, are examples of the excellence of Black people in the United States. Their story represents the perseverance of Black people in the United States. Their story reminds us that we are living history today, or our lives today may become the history that people refer to tomorrow. So let us just anchor that in prayer, that one of the ways that we dismantle and take the power away from racism is to recognize the way we live our lives today sets the tone and creates the future of tomorrow. Let's go within. And as I go within, I'm reminded that there's only one life. That life is God. That life is perfect. And that life is my life now, and the life of everyone within the sound of my voice. I could pray for racial healing, but what I know is that there's nothing to heal, only the truth to reveal, the truth of harmony, the truth of wholeness, the truth of unity, the truth of excellence, unlimited, based on race. And all I need to do is recall the amazing lives of Bessie and Sadie Delany to be reminded and to have the conviction that is required that right here, right now, my life, all life, the lives of everyone I know and the people I don't, are allowed to express fully their talents, their intelligence, their humor, their ways of being in the world that are unique to them. That every person is now able to reflect the truth of spirit itself that has been placed within to serve without. I'm so grateful for knowing that there's no limitation put on any person's life by the Creator. And so I release any old story or false belief that allows me to believe that based on race or any other physical characteristic or society defined limitation, there is no limitation that is stronger than the power of God. Knowing this truth, I can gratefully and easily release this prayer into the flow of spiritual activity, knowing that the universe has already said yes, and this is in motion now. And each one of us gets in alignment with that motion, and we let it be. Amen. Ashe. And so it is. Take a breath. And with that breath, honor the legacy given to us by the lives of the Delany sisters. Happy Black History Month. Let's learn together.